Well, hey fans, welcome back to another movie review, and today we're talking about Kinds of Kindness. So, Kinds of Kindness is an anthology film directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, starring Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe, Chau, Margaret Qualley, Mamoudou Athie, Hunter Schafer, and Alwyn. And it basically follows these three separate stories. Each of them is named after this character, R.M.F. We only get this character's initials. He's played by the same person throughout, and I think they go in the order of like the death of R.M.F. R.M.F. is flying and R.M.F. eats a sandwich. And all the actors in the segments, they play different people. There is no character besides R.M.F. that is carried over from one story to the next. And they are all very weird. Yorgos Lanthimos, he is a weird director in my opinion. All of his films that I have seen, I have not really liked in the least. The first film I heard of his is The Lobster, and I don't know that I actually watched that one. I know that's like Colin Farrell, I believe, but I can't remember if I watched it or not, but that's the first one of his that I was aware of. But the first one that I fully watched and that I remember watching is The Favorite, and this was back when The Crown came out and those period pieces were just popping, you know, Victoria, all that. And I remember watching that movie and just hating it. I just thought it was the worst written thing ever. It just didn't really connect with me, and Olivia Colman won an Oscar for her role in that movie, and I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. Like, how in the world? This movie was awful, and she won an Oscar. So clearly he makes movies for like the awards critic crowd, like those big uppity Oscar contender people. But even his latest film, Poor Things, I watched that and hated it so much. I'm like, man, Yorgos just, his films are just too weird, and the plot was all over the place. Emma Stone, I just didn't think it was a great role for her. She won an Oscar. She won an Oscar for Poor Things. And I remember once I heard he was coming out with another film this year, which is this film, Kinds of Kindness. I was like, he's trying to run it back. And I don't think this movie is Oscar worthy in any aspect. But I mean, I'm not gonna bet against him at this point. He might win some Oscar. One of these actors might get nominated. We will see. But like in terms of the stories, my favorite one is probably R.M.F. Eats a Sandwich. The last one. That one basically involves, and I don't remember the characters' names really, but Jesse Plemons' character and Emma Stone's character, they're like in this sex cult, and they're looking for a specific woman who has to be a twin, but her twin has to be dead, and she somehow has the power to heal people. So they just go in and interviewing all these people and trying to locate her. And as the story progresses, you find out that Emma Stone's character is separated from her husband. She has a daughter, and he like misses her. And then there's what I can only describe as a sexual assault that happens with her and her husband, and she's kicked out of the sex cult. And it is just like the wildest story, and the way that it ends is totally, I feel like he could, that is the, of all of these stories, that is the one story he could have stretched out into an entire hour and a half, maybe hour 20-minute film. So yeah, that was my favorite. If you're planning on watching this, I don't want to spoil it completely what all happens in there, but like I said, that was my favorite. R.M.F. is Flying is by far the weirdest one. Like Jesse Plemons' character, his wife like is lost, and they presume she's dead, but she comes back, and then like he's like, that's not my wife, and maybe it isn't, maybe it's like a clone or alien. They don't really explain it, but his real wife does eventually show up, and you gotta watch the whole thing to see how that plays out. But yeah, I didn't quite exactly get what was going on there. And probably my second favorite one would be the first one, although that one is a little off as well. That one's mainly about Jesse Plemons' character, who is doing everything this rich guy tells him to do in terms of living his life, and he decides to rebel against him, and it turns out that's not what he wants. And that's all I'm saying about that one. But like overall, this it's not for me, Kinds of Kindness, and I don't think the title really actually does fit with the movie. But if you like Yorgos Lanthimos, all of these, this movie will definitely be up your alley, and all of these little anthology short films that are within the movie will be something you will enjoy. In terms of a score, probably give it a solid 5 out of 10. Like, I can't say it's bad just because it's weird. Doesn't mean it's actually bad, but it's not something I think I'm going to revisit. But it's definitely a Yorgos Lanthimos film through and through. I wonder what he's gonna do next. He's probably gonna get another actor an Oscar. It seems like Emma Stone has kind of hitched her horse to him. She's like, this is the guy that's getting me nominations. I'm gonna stick with him, see what he does. Also, I do feel like my favorite type of anthology. I do feel like besides the character R.M.F, they should have done, or he should have done, a better job of just kind of connecting these characters, even if the actors are playing different people. Like having these people show up in each other's stories to make it seem like it is one cohesive world. I think that would have been great. And the movie title probably should have stayed R.M.F, because that is the through line. That's the only through line that we get. And some of the acting is fine. There is this one character. He's a police chief in the second story. He's just kind of talking normal. He doesn't seem like an actor at all. He's like a guy they found off the street and just said, "Here, read these lines." And it just kind of took me out of it for a little bit. It was very weird. He was the only character that I felt was like that. Everybody else you can kind of tell was an actor to some degree. Not that everybody's role is big, but like that one character just seemed out of place. So I want to thank you guys again for joining me for this movie review. Remember, you can find the full review on YouTube and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.